Yo, what is up, everybody? Cowboy here. Monday. No, it's Tuesday. Tuesday, 8:30 a.m. EST. We had a bank holiday yesterday, although a lot of stuff was open. Markets were open, and it was Veteran slash Armistice Day. And I really should know my history. I think Armistice has to do with World War II, maybe when the fighting stopped. I don't know. And I usually know these kind of things, but I do not know that particular thing. Exciting weekend when it comes to crypto and everything else, though. We had some big moves, and basically just a trade that I took was monstrously won. I started taking a trade last week. I'll see if I can find it and post it up on here. But this trade I took, here it is. Let me find this picture here, see if I can transpose it up to the screen. Big, massive trade, right? I took this thing, and it's hard to see the target on here, but it's all the way up to like 80 some odd $1,000. I think my target was at about 88. I took profit a little bit early on that. And the reason is that once I'm at about 85% of my profit, I'm okay to take profit. I have a rule that allows me to do that. So, that said, what a massive trade, big, big trade. And, there was a lot of information, helping us understand what was going to happen. I took the trade live. I think it was even live on this main channel here, not just in front of Algo Factory. But there's the trade right there. Target was at 86,000, and I added about 3 times to this trade on the way up, right? So I really did pull some nice profit. It just has to do with like where we are in the Bitcoin cycle, right? Every 4 years, it happens the same way, and excuse me. And there's not been a lot of halvings, right? So if you want to know why we can predict a move like this, it's because we use data. We go back through time. We take a look at what has happened in the past, and what has happened every 4 years is you get a breakout right after the election, usually, or right around that same time. And that has to do with the Bitcoin halving. And the Bitcoin halving we've talked about ad nauseum on this channel. If you don't know what the Bitcoin halving is by now, just go look it up. You'll see what it is. It has to do with how new Bitcoin is created. When Bitcoin transactions happen, the computers that basically validate that transaction are given a small reward, and that's how new Bitcoin enters the market. And every 4 years, that reward is cut in half, which means less Bitcoin is entering the market at that time. And it goes to show you the value of Bitcoin because that creates scarcity. Now, Bitcoin will only ever go up to a supply of 21 million. There will never be more than 21 million Bitcoin. So as the years go on, less and less Bitcoin enters the market and flows around, and that creates artificial scarcity. Or I don't want to use the term artificial. It just creates a form of scarcity. That plus everybody wants it. So it's built in. It's by design. And you can see the algo's pinging right here. This is my algo that I built, and it's ping and go right there. And one of the things that happens, and this is on the daily chart, by the way. So all of these candlesticks are 1 day's worth of price action. And this goes back to March when we had the all-time high prior to the halving, which is the first time that's ever happened. And a lot of people are concerned that because price shot up so high before the Bitcoin halving in April, did that mean that it's not going to go up after that? I'm hearing a lot of questions as to how high will Bitcoin go. If this were, let's just say, if the landscape were the same right now as it were in prior halvings, right? If the kind of people who owned Bitcoin were the same kind of people back then publicly, then I would say that we could go anywhere from 120 to 160. Though that would be the highs I'm looking at. There is a little bit of a difference this time around, though, and the difference is that the institutional types. You got your IBIT shares, you have BlackRock, basically, you have all the other Bitcoin ETFs. They own Bitcoin now, and because of the way that some of those companies operate, they may be able to suppress the price of Bitcoin. They may not. It really depends on the world demand. This is a very fluid situation, very hard to predict or define, but there might be a suppression of price around $100,000. But if that doesn't happen, and it may not happen, you get Trump in office now, so he's been very, very, very openly pro crypto. I mean, very openly. So, there might be some changes in the way that even the institutionals do things. We'll see. Finance tends to run Washington, not the other way around. Just so y'all know, that's how it is. But it under any circumstance, I think 100,000 is a pretty realistic target. And like I said, if it wasn't for the changing the landscape of ownership of Bitcoin, I'd say 120 to 160. Even 140 might even be my low in that scenario. I've seen a lot of smart people do a lot of smart math, and I'm pretty good at math. I did math with engineers at university, but these guys, some real smart guys, say about 140 to 160 is their sort of low end, right? So we'll see if it can break past 100. And in the meantime, as it does that, and as Bitcoin itself comes to whatever its high is going to be, I have some indications that are pretty good at saying that that's it. They're not perfect, but they're about 4 out of 5, so about 80% accurate so far through history. And it's a very simple way to look at it, but I can't share that here. Long story short, we're going to keep an eye on that and see how that's going. Now let's move over to Solana, because Solana, this is my prediction in Solana, and it really pretty much followed that. It just got knocked down because Bitcoin did pull back, right? So when Bitcoin pulls back, Solana is going to generally, from a percentage standpoint, pull back harder, right? Solana is almost always going to be like a leveraged version of Bitcoin. So it's a little bit wilder on the price action. But Solana touched a peak of 225, now back down, but still above 200. That's very exciting. Let's actually go back to Bitcoin, and then we'll take a quick look at Ethereum and a couple other cryptos. And then we'll probably keep this particular show about crypto because that's just really what the news is right now. If I were to look at this as one big impulse, and I think it's pretty fair to do so, then I would expect price to go back down to around, I'd say 73,000, knowing what I know about the way Bitcoin usually operates. But we're going to put some tools on this. We're going to put the Fibonacci tool on that. The retracement the 618 goes back down to where, if you look on the way up, Bitcoin did kind of, encounter some sort of resistance. It broke through it eventually, but it was right here around 70, anywhere from 74,600 all the way up to about 77,300. That was an area where on the way up, Bitcoin kind of stopped and had to grind through a lot of people selling. And as it did that 618 retracement is right in the middle of that, So, we can look at that. We can look to that as where Bitcoin might fall to. And another thing I can do is add and look at some volume data and add this fixed range volume profile on that same extension. And you'll see that most of the volume is sitting right there. So I would say that 75,000 is a really good target for this as far as a pullback. It could pull back deeper. It could go down and grab some more liquidity, but there's a lot of liquidity right there. Also, we'll take a quick look at the Kingfisher, and we'll see about the liquidations that are actually on the exchanges, which is really, it's a bunch of liquidity that's sitting on exchanges in the form of liquidations. And so we're talking about futures exchanges, and there's just not a lot going on below price. There really isn't. That's actually, let's not say that. That was the wrong map. Okay, so now we're looking at the real thing. There's a fair amount of liquidity sitting at about 77,000, 75,000, a little more at 72. So this kind of fits. What did we say our number was? Let's see here. About 75.8. There's not a lot of liquidity sitting there, but there is a little bit. There's a little smatter here at 76.9, so basically 77, and 75.5, 75.6. So we'll throw those on there. 77 right about at the top of this box, and then right at 75.9, which is right there. It's right in the middle. There's a lot of confluence here. So if we're looking for a pullback and where price might go, I'd really be looking at that 75, 76 area. That's makes a lot of sense. We have some comments. Val the Girl. Yes, awesome. And Hippocratic Oath, great name, by the way. Not more oligarch suppression. Yeah, we'll see about it. I mean, these things happen. Guarantee you, oligarchs suppress things. So, we'll see if that's what they decide to do, though. Again, with Trump in charge, there's a lot of rules that may not apply anymore. We're going to find out. I think we're going to find that a lot of what the right wants from Trump, the right's not necessarily going to get from Trump. I mean, it's not like the left is powerless. They still have people in power that can create problems, or, well, let's not even call them problems. Let's just say the left can create roadblocks to what the right wants. And that's why we have sort of this situation. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm not even saying that it's not constructed, but we have a bit of a balance of power. And the balance has been so far left for so long that the right now is, the pendulum has now swung. But at the same time, even the whole time when the left was basically in charge, going back to the Obama era, the right still had a few things to say about it. So, we can't just expect, as people who might be conservatives, to get everything we want just because our guy is in charge, right? We'll see. Whatever. I'm going to put it to you this way. I'm not, when it comes to trading, politics means nothing to me. When it comes to trading, the charts mean everything to me, right? I want to know where price is going to go, and then I want to trade accordingly. Like whatever happens in the politics, the only thing that I look at it, the only thing I see in that is an opportunity to make money up or down. That's it. So, if you want to come trade. I don't care, what your beliefs are. Come make some money. At any rate, we are at the end of the live lab. So come on over to algofactory.tech. What you saw today, that's some pretty basic price action. There is a lot of stuff that I didn't talk about down here. This gobbledygook you see at the bottom. The algo that I've built, this indicator, you see these little ups and downs, this red tab, red tab, red tab, these green tabs, which are pretty darn accurate. I made that myself, right? And I teach people how to make their own version of that, because each person trades differently, right? You have different ways of doing things, so on and so forth. So what you want to do is, build something that goes with your personality, because if you don't do that, using somebody else's system, I don't see it work that often. I've seen a lot of people go, oh, well, this guy has this system and I'm going to go use his or whatever. And I've seen it happen, and I've seen them go, come and go. I've seen it, like, 80, 90% of people at least, they're not even still trading it. You know what I mean? You gotta build your own as if you want to be successful. It's almost always the case. So come on over to do it. Algofactory.tech, and we will see you over there. And do not forget,
join us or die.